Greetings, programs. Burnt Out Gamer here, and I am back again. And this time, we're going to be talking about cartoons. In particular, the Animaniacs, and if this Sega Genesis version of the game is worth our time. So let's check it out. So, programs, do you remember the Animaniacs? You gotta hit the way back machine for this one, taking us in 1993. The show at the time, honestly, broke a lot of boundaries, and at most times, the fourth wall as well. I remember as a kid being very intrigued by this, as it wasn't really common. You only really saw that kind of thing in old Looney Tunes by Bugs Bunny and the likes. Animaniacs was set up like a variety show, running several skits per episode, and that's basically how the game plays out as well. Developed by Konami and hitting the shelves in '94, a year after the cartoon premiered, there is a Super Nintendo version of it, but I chose to concentrate on this one, because the story and gameplay in that version is completely different. In the Sega Genesis version, you control the Animaniacs, Yakko, Wakko, and Dot, of course, as they run riot through the Warner Brothers film lot, going soundstage to soundstage, looking for movie memorabilia to put in their newly set up hip-hop shop. Yeah, you heard that right, folks. Hip-hop shop. You gotta remember, this was 1994. The game is set up as an action puzzle platformer, you controlling one of them, being able to switch on the fly anytime you want. Each one has their own special ability. Yakko has a paddleboard that he uses to attack foes, Wakko has a mallet that he can use to toggle switches and clear objects, and Dot can blow kisses to distract certain enemies. And that's where the puzzle aspect comes in. Each stage has certain obstacles that can only be passed using one of their unique abilities, and it's up to you to figure out which. The puzzle aspect of the game isn't bad. It keeps things interesting and never felt frustrating. The dev team did a really good job of keeping them balanced. I had to think for a second on a few, but never felt bogged down actually. The controls in Animaniacs are pretty crisp, and never felt sloppy or laggy. I will say, however, it is kind of a pain how they stack on each other. It's a necessity in this game, and it's not really all that bad, but it is kind of a pain at times. The level design is nice, and since each stage is themed around a different movie set, it helps keep things varied. Great use of color in the game, and the elements included from the show bring a lot of life to each stage. And like I said, the puzzles are incorporated really well, so that helps out quite a bit. There are 4 stages to start with, and when completed, you open up a 5th level. And after you beat that, you're able to finally face off against the final boss, Pinky and the Brain. One thing about the Animaniacs is it is a little on the hard side. You have a health bar that's a little vague, simply showing you look more and more tired as you take damage, so it's not always 100% clear on where you really set. It's also a little sketchy in how you deal with enemies, especially the bosses. So it's easy to rack up damage not knowing exactly how to attack them or what to do. Luckily though, the game does feature a password system. Although, once you get it down, the game is pretty short, so it's not really needed honestly. But it is nice that it is there. So the question is the Animaniacs worth our time? If you like old school action puzzle platformers, I'd definitely say that it's worth a playthrough. The controls are crisp, the environments are colorful and varied, and the swapping of the characters puzzle aspect adds a little depth to the game. It is kind of short though, and the difficulty can be kind of rough when you first start out. But as I said, the game does feature a password system. If you were a fan of the cartoon as a kid, and are into action platformers with a spice of color to them, then I'd definitely say the Animaniacs is worth your time. So if you enjoyed the video, force push that like button, hit the sub, and always remember to be excellent to each other.